Let's get the very latest with Alex Rose.
Right now, the priority is finding these two very dangerous men.
Alex, tell me about this huge operation.
You got national and local police services. You have them cutting through steel in the back of their cells. Richard Matt has been shot and killed earlier today. There's been a comprehensive grid search that started at sunrise. Just a tremendous effort by New York State Police.
Breaking news tonight.
Lara Sobel was shot and killed. She leaves behind a husband and 2 daughters. Police say he fired his rifle into the air, and that led to the 6-hour standoff that you mentioned. We have about 20 folks here lined up for a candlelight vigil. 12 different languages commonly spoken in the Burlington School District. Then print it out or email the pass on your phone. We are your local election headquarters. It was the Democrats' turn to debate the issues. We got a hold of the senator's itinerary. He's actually leaving South Carolina. Supporters keep flooding in. This will be the first major victory for Hillary Clinton.
Local 44's Alex Rose is live in Dannemora tonight. And Alex, so what are officials now saying about how they cut through layers of steel?
Well, Joe, we know that Joyce Mitchell provided David Sweat and Richard Matt with the basic type of tools that help them cut through the back of the steel walls in their cells. But these tools don't have the power to slice through Clinton Correctional in the fashion that they did in their escape. So we talked to some experts earlier today about what kind of tools are right for that kind of a job. It's a professional job cutting through steel and brick the way David Sweat and Richard Matt did to break out of Clinton Correctional.
It looks like very precision work. It certainly doesn't look like a novice was making those cuts.
But how could two criminals pull it off?
You're going to have some patience and some time.
For Matt and Sweat, time was on their side. Officials say a hacksaw provided by Joyce Mitchell helped cut through steel in the back of their cells. We spoke with some experts at Fastenal in Plattsburgh.
It's not going to happen in a few hours to get that cut done.
Experts say a battery-powered grinder or sawzall are the tools of choice for the steel pipe and manhole lock between them and freedom. Most of these tools can be disassembled and broken into smaller parts. So a couple of minutes and 15 screws later, we were able to disassemble this cordless grinder to about the size of a soda can. And if David Sweat and Richard Matt were able to get in basic tools into Clinton Correctional, there's no telling what they could accomplish if they had the time. We don't know exactly how they got tools from Mitchell.
I have no idea whether it was a magazine or how the transfer took place. But there's obviously, many possibilities.
But District Attorney Andrew Wiley says they found the tools.
We think they came upon it by accident.
But as you can tell, it's hard not to hear that kind of racket. Earlier asking him if it is at all possible if one of the hundreds of contractors that are in and out of Clinton Correctional regularly left behind some power tools as a source of outside help. And he said there's no information that contractors have previous contact with David Sweat or Richard Matt or have assisted them in their escape in any way, shape, or form. We first introduced you to Marin Blake last year.
Oh, never bother me anyway.
She was diagnosed with childhood leukemia.
It was hard for Marin's parents after she was diagnosed at 4 years old. But one trip to meet her heroes turned it all around for the Disney Frozen fanatic.
It's from Disney.
She met Anna and Elsa and more Disney princesses thanks to Make-A-Wish. Her parents say it made the difference after 9 months of intensive treatment.
It was a light at the end of the tunnel for her. It was just something to look forward to.
Back home in Burlington, Marin made time for a sit-down interview with me.
I'm in kindergarten.
Now her schedule is full of soccer, dancing, swimming, and her favorite.
I like practicing the up and down monkey bars. I can skip.
Marin's kind of, looks like a normal 5-year-old girl right now. She's got her hair back, but she definitely, she's been through a lot.
Every 3 months, she goes in for a major checkup with IV infusions, a lumbar puncture, and 5 days of steroids. She'll be done with treatment next July. But until then, she's energetic as ever and still singing, showing off some Spanish.
Ojos, cabeza, la 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 la. That's what I learned in my school. C.
And she even taught me some dance moves.
My hands are high, my feet are low, and this is how I popsicle.
And before I said goodbye, little Tessa wanted to say one last thank you for checking in with her big sister. It's the 100th year of the primary vote in the Granite State. It's a rich history that's celebrated by voters who get to set the tone for the primary election. We show you the latest changes for voters at the polls and the Granite State's significance in the race as your local election headquarters.
Small state with a small population.
A lot of communities in the Granite State are just like Littleton. The small town is not short on character. In just a few days, the culmination of these communities will set the tone for the presidential race. The Littleton Diner isn't just a mealtime staple for folks around the area. It's a political magnet for Democrats and Republicans alike.
Marco Rubio was in here with his family, and Hillary Clinton was in here.
Owner Chris Williford says there is a sense of pride for New Hampshire voters.
I think it's a big deal here. I think the real importance for New Hampshire is simply that no one would ever come see us if we were not very early in the primary cycle.
Florence Webb says there's a culture among neighbors of sticking to their guns privately.
They want their privacy protected, and they aren't interested in telling anybody which way they intend to vote.
Certainly we have our own preferences as to who we're voting for, not anybody's business but our own.
From what you can see around town, the support ranges from major candidates to unheard underdogs. And voters have become more unpredictable recently. Out of more than 3,600 registered voters in Littleton, 42% are undeclared in a town that was historically GOP friendly.
Secretary of State's office did a really nice job on this.
This year marks the 100th year of the New Hampshire primary, dating back to 1916.
The idea of the primary was, well, let's open it up to the people. Let's let them decide.
St. Mike's political science professor Doug Slaybaugh says the New Hampshire primary is unique. The small town atmosphere makes candidates get personal before things heat up.
They cannot continue to engage in that kind of retail campaigning. It's really wholesale campaigning. And New Hampshire, I think, would see itself as a place that's helping to vet these candidates.
And voters seem to agree.
You could better read or get a pulse on a person in a more intimate setting.
On primary day, chances are Littleton voters will run into Gerald Wynn if they don't know him already.
People, I think, give a lot of thought to their decisions.
Wynn has been the town moderator for more than 15 years. He helps folks with the process and answers their questions on voting day. This year comes with some changes. One, new machines to make voting easier for the handicapped.
It's more streamlined equipment. They still have the privacy, but there's a new machine that we're having introduced to us this year.
And two, a new venue. Folks will come to the new municipal garage to vote with plenty of parking. And something to keep in mind for voters going to the polls in New Hampshire, the rules have changed to prevent voter ID fraud. Voters will have to bring in a valid form of photo ID to vote in this year's primary.
You don't want somebody voting if they came in on a bus from somewhere else.
If you forget your ID, the town moderator, clerks, or people manning the voter checklist will have to recognize you. If not, they'll snap a photo and have you fill out a voter affidavit to verify information. All of this to preserve a process a century in the making.
It's not just a obligation or a ritual, it matters.
And voters we spoke with believe their say does matter.
I think it's a good barometer.
And experts agree New Hampshire historically has been a pulse of the nation.
I think until 1992, everyone who became president had won his party's New Hampshire primary.
Since then, there's been exceptions, and with an already unprecedented election season, time will only tell if New Hampshire restores its tradition of picking the president.